Welcome back to another episode of the Jovial Pursuit podcast. I'm your host, Jovi, with my co-host, Brandon. Brandon, how are we doing this week?
Pretty good for the most part. I got things off my chest, felt better. It was good. It was a good week.
Hey,
But
people, reach out to your family and friends because they can help you out on the
true.
quick little 15-minute chat.
Yep.
Also, they might get in the way of a chat that you had lined up, and we only got off the phone a minute later. But you know what? It happened, and I was glad to be there for you.
Yeah.
Bro, I had a conversation when we finished. It was literally one to the next. I was like, yo, if you don't get on my phone right now, it's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to interject. But thankfully, you were like, I got to do such and such, so I gotta cut this short. And I was like,
It's a little bit of a weird thing when like they're like, I need to just say some things. And at the same time, you're like, but I legit have a thing, but I know that you need this. But so
when I tell you, I
but
looked at my watch multiple times. I was like, oh,
mhm,
but I'm here for my guy, so
you know,
cool. I actually
yep.
was about ready to type up the message like, "Hey, I'm gonna need a couple more minutes." I was 2 seconds from like scribing that up, and thankfully, all
Yeah,
worked out well.
it
And
did.
then I hope you felt better after. I know
Yeah.
I did, because it made us closer. Got
Yep.
the mics. Took that.
Like,
Hold on,
there
I
you
need the
go.
people to know I care.
Oh, I like it.
My week's been pretty quiet for the most part. Regular old. Um, I've been thinking about switching up our intro.
Oh,
Something
okay.
on my docket to do. I've been taking some of our interests into account and like what to put. I'm not putting orcas in our intro. That's just actually not gonna
No,
happen.
no.
I think I've swayed you enough at this point for the
Oh
crowd.
yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I mean,
I'm not proud, but
listen, I still think they're incredible animals, but like just reading a little bit more about them, it's been like, those suckers are dicey because they like when they're good, they're really good, but like when they're bad, they're really bad. So
yeah, they're 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 really bad when they're bad.
that's what I
Like,
mean. It's
uh,
it's what it turned into is basically me being like, I think what we need to do now is just be like, orcas, you're cool. You just stay over there. Whatever you whatever you
you
want to
don't
do, you
want to
guys.
go swimming with him anymore?
Dude, no. I think I still would try, but again, I at this point, I still want to, but I also don't want to get bit or eaten or jumped on because the last thought I'm gonna have is, oh crap, he was right. And that's no way to end that's no way
What?
to end
That's
your
a great
life.
way to end. A great way to
No,
end. Like,
no,
I'll fucks with it,
mm-mm,
like personally.
no, no, that is no way to end my life is being like,
Javon was
Jovan
right.
was right. Ugh.
Don't let your last words be son of a bitch. I'll feel it in my spirit. I'm gonna be like that motherfucker.
I'm
I
not,
don't know
I'm
what
not gonna,
happened, but I know something happened,
I'm not,
and he
it
didn't
won't.
say nothing
No,
nice about me.
no, I'm not gonna do it. Just no.
You can do it on a boat. I would highly suggest no kayaks per our last conversation. And
The jumping thing, like, yep,
they there's no reason for their extra brutality. It really just isn't. And they just do it for shits and gigs. And I'm like,
yeah,
hey, I'm not gonna go near you. So cool.
yeah.
Other
Did
than that,
did you
hmm,
did you look up the thing I sent you, by the way? I forgot to ask.
I looked up some of it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to
Oh,
y'all.
ah,
I'm trying to get past this point of retribution in my life. And the thing is, I can't do it as well as some others in this group. And the way that you wanted me to look at that article, and I did briefly. I looked at the first paragraph. It didn't explain much in the first paragraph. It's the same way that you treated me for Vine, where yeah, I was gonna get back because I expect you to come with like, oh, some of my favorite clips were this, that, and third, and you didn't. So you know what? Tell your little story.
No,
Do
no,
no, do your little thing. You had a little bit.
no. I
Proceed.
was. It was so the whole thing was about this kid named Walter Collins. Kid goes missing, right? And then the police like they bring another kid to this mom, and they're like, "We found him," and the mom's like,
I didn't get that far in the article.
"Yeah, no,
I
they
just thought
like
they hijacked it and just like said, yeah, no, your kid's dead. Like, tough shit.
they did,"
Oh,
and then and well, they were like,
but
doesn't look good for you." So, but then they go, no, we found him," and then they present this other kid, and she's like, "No, this is not my child," and they're like, "Ma'am, ma'am, that is your child. How dare you've gone through so much you don't even recognize your own child? That's so sad."
gaslighting.
Yeah, they gaslit the mom, and then they institutionalized her after she was like, "No, my kid's still out there somewhere," and also, who's this kid? And they put her in an institution.
What was the like year of this event?
1928.
Oh, so yeah, no, obviously DNA testing wasn't available then. So, and they were quick to throw a woman in the loony bin at that point in time.
Right? But like this poor woman, like, and maybe it's just me,
I believe
but
it,
if
obviously.
yeah, well, yeah, if there's ever a mom that comes to me and her mother's intuition is going off, because so I have four kids, my
Mhm.
wife's like motherly intuition, when it goes off, she's like dead on. Like, and I'm like, I don't know how you knew that, but it's impressive.
I
So whenever
believe
she's
it,
like,
dude.
yeah, whenever she's like something's off, I'm like, I'm following that because it's never really that it's never really off, and like it's never a bad thing to check. So
It's
for
no
people to
different
be
from
like,
the paternal instinct to fight for your kid. It's the same thing though. Like, all right, they send the beacon, and then dad's supposed to be like, send me that way.
just
You just just through the woods. You live in a city, but it's through the woods out of nowhere.
yeah, the woods just show up out of nowhere and like, here, now you need to
Has
go.
to for the bit. It has to. You got to be running through like some
Hmm.
dense park or something like
Yeah, yeah,
Central Park. That's got some
yeah,
dense like trees.
it
Yeah.
does. But but like that was just a wild story to me. Like this poor woman, her
Mhm.
child gets abducted, and then they're like, here's your here's your replacement kid, and it's your kid, so how
Who's your
dare you,
replacement?
how how dare you, you're crazy, get in the institution. And like this woman's like, so now I've lost my kid, lost my freedom, and this other child out here, I don't know where they found this other kid. Like,
I would have went kid, whole family, like not just my kid, but now my whole family. Now
oh,
my
that's true, yeah.
freedom and life, and it's like, but who the fuck was that kid? He looked like close to, but he's clearly not mine.
Right, but for
It's a
motherly
cousin's kid.
intuition, like,
They just stole a cousin's kid.
just shh.
Listen,
Maybe it was part of like the plea bargain. They were
oh,
like,
bro.
"Hey,
So, do you know, like a lot of the photos that we see? It's gonna be a little graphic, guys. I'm gonna let you know right now. A lot of the photos that we see of like a lineup of families, one of those people is not with us anymore.
what?
And the
What do
way
you
that
mean?"
people say they are no longer with us, there's a body there, but they are no longer with us. And it was around the turn of the century, when the camera came into its piece, late 1800s, as a mass, like family portraits and whatnot. Yeah, some of those
Oh,
people that were in those photos were not with us anymore.
oh, okay.
So
So
like,
you're
and
saying
it's
that people
usually like the
this
youngest. You know how they're dressed up like a doll? It's really that one. Yeah. When they're just like sleep up stiff as a board.
we call we call that child rigor mortis for short.
Currently, yeah, we call that rigor. But bro, like, I didn't know. So like in high school, I'm looking at these photos and I'm thinking like, yo, they were alive for this picture. Cool. It's crazy to see a family portrait in the 1910s at that, for a poor group. And then come to find out, not everyone in that group is
Hmm.
alive.
Nope.
And it's like the last one or the last two, and they're like, yo, before we bury them, we gotta have a memory of them with us. And cameras just came out. So before we put them in a box, like, they're already in their Sunday best. Like, what you want me to do? Like, it's the perfect time. And they would either nail or glue the eyelids open. So that's why, like, anytime, if
Mm-mm.
anyone's ever felt an eerie feeling about some of their old family photos, it's not, don't blame me, blame history.
I mean,
It was
let
good
me
intent.
put it
It was good intent,
let me put it this way. I
especially
get it.
during the Depression.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it
like
was super popular then.
but I get it. Like it's not you don't you might not have a way to remember your kid. Like I get it,
Yeah.
you know?
So, because it used to be like drawn portraits and paintings before then. So, to have like the actual visual, like, I do
Yeah.
understand it. Um, I'd rather
But man,
have the
that
memory personally. Just
yep.
That's just me.
Yep.
So, we're gonna do one more thing before we get into the big topic of this week, as
All
we
right.
completely skipped it last week. And I'm just
True.
gonna go with the how old were you? Since we're already on this kind of like time sphere sort of
Cuz I
situation.
cuz I chose B. This is the A from last week.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
How old were you when you learned most presidents are related?
Uh it
I'm sick and
actually
tired of you knowing all of my facts. I'm actually getting upset because you keep coming at me with a, so it was around 10th
I
grade, probably spring 10th grade. I'm getting real sick and tired of this, Brandon. Stop
it
blaming me.
was all right. This wasn't like a recent one. Well, it was like probably 3 years ago because my so like my brother sent me this random like sort of photo off the internet. It was this person like the caption on the video was like essentially the person was making a very unique face. And it was probably not politically correct. And it was like, we're all out here being mad at Henry VIII for killing everyone. But we got to remember, like, that man, like, was at least 3 or 4 generations deep on inbreeding. And I was like, oh, wait. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
And
it
then
wasn't Henry the Eighth that there's
yeah,
a
but like,
connection. Yeah.
yeah, but the amount of like world leaders that are like related in
First of all,
we're talking like,
Genghis Khan alone
yeah, like that dude, like, I,
populated a third of the planet. Are you serious? Just and it's
Well,
a third of the fucking planet is
mhm.
lineage to this one man.
Right, but that's like why a lot of humans on the planet right now, they're like, "Wait, what? I have like genetic history from like Asia? Like the Asian steppe? Like what? Why?" And they're like, "Psst, Genghis did that like a long time ago and he ooh,
Mongols. Hold on, the Mongols came. Oh. Like
yeah,
the reason the Great Wall is there, it's like that guy.
yeah,
I
like
heard that's a
oh,
myth though too. I want to learn more about that, but I hear the story that we hear about the Great Wall is not exactly what actually is. No different from most of history
yeah, yeah.
because they were like,
I I did a deep dive on like the Mongol Empire. And like what I read a lot. It's a weird thing.
it's evident. I'm just like, how am I gonna bring new facts to this if you're like me and learn all these random obscure facts? Like,
I don't know.
this is
Ooh, we
not
should do it
something
like
I can hold up. The
yo,
only
here's
thing
the
that
thing.
I've gotten so far is the fact that Mary Kate and Ashley used to hang out in my hometown.
That's true.
Like
That's
that's
true.
the only thing so far. I
Yeah.
didn't know they hung out in Salem, New York, of all places. Why would
Right?
anyone? Why would anyone know that they did that?
Like even people in Salem, New York didn't know that. Just
That
it
was
was what it was.
unnecessary. That was an unnecessary jab.
I'm just saying that's how
It's
like
facts, but it just seemed like another jab at me. Like, yeah, even you didn't know. Rude.
no, there's
Rude.
there's no way to know. There's no reason to know. Like
There's no
and
reason to
also
know you having all
also
these
I
facts.
okay. I deeply, deeply love reading random things. And so I just go on deep dives. My current thing right now, pirates.
Well,
Pirates.
uh, that's not new. I would say that's been going on for a few months now.
Yeah, but
Borderline
it keeps getting
obsession.
well,
No,
I do I okay. I
because
did
you
have this thing
related
where
pirates to an ass assassin. So
stop, stop. We're leaving. We can't we can't say that. And we can't say cocaina.
bro,
Like
every time it's you, it's not even me anymore.
we're not supposed to say those things.
I keep telling people, yo, at first it was definitely me, but I'm like, clearly, this man is taking on a whole identity of himself.
It was
he says cocaine way more than I do.
we need to have a tally. Like someone's got to have like a ticker
In a
somewhere.
week that we don't have an episode to drop, I will do that. I will make sure I tally up which means I have to go through. We're currently on like this is episode 24. I'll have
Is
to
it
go
really?
through. Yeah, bro, we finally been doing the thing. It's
Yeah.
high five sauce. You're way too late. I'm gonna
I
fix it in post. I'm I'm definitely not, but I'll
no,
say
you
that's
know,
what they say in the biz. Fix it in post. But yeah, like we've been going some 24 episodes now, and that's
yeah,
roughly 40 minutes to an hour a show. So
yeah,
I, I'll take the time to go
yeah.
through and see who, because I want to know that I haven't said it more, and it's the professional that's actually said it more
Said more of what?
of different paraphernalia that's on the DEA's list of like, oh, if that car gets caught with this, oh, we're picking them up for sure. That type of stuff.
But what is it called? I can't. I mean, I'm trying to like get your numbers up there. Like, say it
Schedule
again.
1 or Schedule 2 drug. Is that the word you're looking? Technically, I'm not supposed to say that online, but like the word that you're looking for is drug. Yes.
Dang it.
So anyway, most presidents are related, and it's through King John. I even pulled it up. I'm still a little upset that you already knew. Because how is this supposed to be? How old are you in for the rest of the crowd? It's supposed to be today. You're supposed to be today years old.
Okay, fine. I'm I'm pretty sure you'll find something even more obscure next week.
I'm
Where
I'm going to. Now I gotta go on a deep dive. I gotta go. I gotta go like deep ocean facts deep.
okay,
Mariana Trench type deep. Did you know that there is a snail that lives in the ocean that is ironclad?
I did not know that.
Okay. All right. Then fuck the whole president's thing. I was going to pull it up, guys. You know what? Screw that. I'm going to tell you about this snail. So it lives around volcanic vents and in the deep trenches of the ocean. And that's actually super hot. And they nibble on the mineral base around the volcanic vent, and the
Okay,
iron that they ingest literally becomes their shell. So they're clad in iron. So I'm gonna pull that up.
that's a little
Just
BA for a snail.
it's
Not gonna lie.
oh,
Just
you
be like
choosing not to swear? I can't believe you. It's a little BA. It's such a
for
child.
bad attitude.
It's a good attitude. It's just keep them alive.
No, that's what BA means is
No,
bad
you're
attitude.
wrong. I want you to say the right thing.
I robot. Ironclad snail. Whoa, that's like stuff out of a sci-fi movie.
I'm super serious when
What?
so this scaling right here, it's no different from iron chainmail.
No.
Yeah. And this
That's
all up
so
top, this
sweet.
whole metallic looking texture on top, all iron. Looks
Dude,
like a
you have
fucking xenomorph
what?
from
Yeah, yeah,
Aliens.
yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's one of the most awesome snails in nature, just flat out, because it literally
Dang.
lives by volcanic vents. It's like 200 plus degrees Celsius around those things. Not even Fahrenheit. I'm
What
not
in
using
the
American
world?
numbers out here with regular world standard numbers. Out here talking
Dang.
Canadian. Your language,
Yep.
Brennan.
Nope.
It is.
No.
Anyway, so screw the president. We're talking about ironclad snails.
Okay.
All right, you ready for it?
Oh yeah.
Let's get into it. All right, so here's
Mm,
the topic that we were talking referencing last week. Um I've had this issue of understanding unconditional love in the sense that I don't know if people can truly perform unconditional love. And I wanted that to be a back and forth conversation in between Brandon and I. So we'll start with Brandon and his point of view on one, do you think humans can actually feel unconditional love? Yes, this is going to be a bit of a debate. I am going to challenge some notions as much as I feel my own feelings on it. I'm going to challenge some notions. So
okay. So are you assuming that I think that humans can do that?
I'm assuming, but
Okay.
we're very similar. So I feel like also.
Yeah, I was good. All right. All right.
Okay,
So
so
the
at least let's start with this. Tell me your opinion of unconditional love. What do you see
I
as unconditional love?
um I so I see unconditional love in a pretty simple way of you as a person loving someone else without an expectation of what that love gets returned back to you.
Mhm.
That it's you're going to care for them, love them without any expectation of how that returns to you. There's no strings attached. There's no expectations of what that means for you. There's no expectations of how it's going to impact your life and your relationship. It's just you're going to love them no matter what that way. I think it can be done
Okay.
in certain stages. So like babies, like for sure, easy to unconditionally love babies because well, not easy, because sometimes they are frustrating, but it's like it's easy to do in the sense of there's nothing that they really have that you want. Like they don't like I don't want anything in return for how I'm caring for you as a child. Like um but I think in like romantic relationships it's hard because there is an expectation of how you want to be cared for as well. So I don't think it's truly unconditional. Um, I think sometimes there's a condition of how you want to be cared for back by that person. I think you can love people in romantic relationships unconditionally, but it requires you to be in a different headspace, like a different, like in a way outside of human thinking and human needs, like
Mhm.
almost in a sort of spiritual way.
Right.
Because everyone has needs and everyone has desires and everyone like it's like I'm human and so I'm going to have human desires in those relationships. It's going to be hard to be unconditional unless I sort of separate myself from human needs and human desires and go on a different sort of spiritual higher level thinking um, to actually love despite
Right.
what they may or may not do.
I hate you.
Was that going to be your point too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of destroys the whole like, man, this was meant to be a big conversation when we both agree. But all right, let's dive deeper. Because there is one thing that I have a tendency to disagree with, and it's based upon different people in my life that I've met, where
Mm-hmm.
and even when rearing a child, I feel like unconditional love isn't necessarily the right attitude that most people um like they say they have, but it's more the unconditional responsibility of rearing the child that they're more attached to, in the sense that like they most, I would say the general population um would say that when they know they're having a child come into this world, or when the child comes into this world, that they're like, yo, there's this immediate gravitational pull to fend for everything that this kid needs. Like if it needs this, that, and
Mm-hmm.
the third, that's what I'm going to bring here. But then for a couple others in the group where it's like, that's not necessarily love, that's responsibility. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you brought this child into this world and it can't fend for itself like other animals that are fresh out the womb. How would it fend for itself? That's your responsibility. So it becomes this
Mm-hmm.
conversation of like, so is it love or is it responsibility? And it's kind of tough sometimes because it is very much interwoven.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you find that in questioning this, responsibility trumps love or vice versa?
Um, I think I think how you choose to love informs how the responsibility plays out. I think if you're loving and coming from a standpoint of um like no matter what comes, no matter how this thing plays out, I'm gonna love you no matter what. I'm gonna care and be there. It shifts how you work with that responsibility side because the responsibility, like if if you're not loving or if there's not that drive to help them be or want them to be the best that they can be, you may not have the responsibility of caring how they do things like socially or emotionally or education wise or vocation or hobbies. It'll be a little bit more laid back. Where where did you go?
You know where I went.
I do.
You know
I
exactly where
I
I
I
went.
I do. I
So
want you to say it. I say it.
I'd like us to come into the sphere of talking about parenthood then,
Hmm.
because it's a lot. We don't talk about the nuances that come in this aspect of love and child rearing, and
Yeah.
the aspect of I do a lot of these things because I love you, but you don't understand how great that love is to even
Hmm.
wrap your mind around what, like, the reasons why I want you to do this, that, or the third.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing for many parents because it's not spoken about openly, as it might have once been in the past.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know your feelings on the matter just a little bit. I'm hiding my face.
Um,
Don't worry about my face.
on the parenting side.
Yeah, because you are the parent in this group, you know. So I'm just wondering, how is it that you manage in those hot moments? Because, some people, they don't manage well,
Mhm.
and things get taken too far. So it's like, and the idea of like, how is it that you are able to display your love in those hot moments still?
I think for me, like my love for my kids, how I explain it to them is my love for them is the reason I get mad sometimes. And it's also the reason it's still restrained and for what it could be.
Mhm.
Like it's a weird way to say like I love you enough to be upset at you for doing something that endangers you or your siblings or for something that that's that's going to hurt your character development or your emotional development or it's going to hurt your friends. um I get mad because I love, and I also am still restrained in that because I love. It's like this weird equalizer because if I didn't love I wouldn't be upset about those things. And if I didn't love, I also wouldn't be restrained in how I speak to you as a child. I just start doing all sorts of nonsense.
Right.
And I think that's like loving your kids as a parent is like one of the greatest like catch 22s of all time because you're like stuck, like you can't unleash, but you can't not address things. So you're just stuck. You just have to address things with your kids. You're stuck parenting them. You're stuck going through all of it. And I'm kind of from the perspective of like parenting and choosing to love and lean into that and lean into the discomfort of that challenge, and loving well. uh, it's also ultimately it's a benefit for me because I get to grow as a in my character as an
Right.
adult. Um, and I oftentimes will look back in my review mirror of my life and I'll see versions of who I once was, and I go, "Ooh, he hadn't learned this lesson yet. He he's got some stuff to go through."
That kid didn't get it.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's a great take. Um, it's one that I feel is what people strive for most often in parenthood, but it's also something that I feel translates well outside of parenthood. That type of
Hmm.
approach with just other friends and family, like it's very much applicable in the sense of like I want to explode, but I can't. And I know I still have to get my point across. So how do I make a way for that to happen?
Hmm.
And to take that extra step in and recognizing like outside of the human nature to want to, blow up in the emotion that is, it's like, but it's not just one, it's
Yeah.
multiple. And if I
Yep.
only address one, there's a whole landscape that's missed. And I
Yeah.
need for full closure to completely discuss what's on my heart. And
Yep.
I think like the fact that children give us like little trials here and there, it allows us to have that aspect of like, oh, I can translate this over. It does give that
Hmm.
extra perspective of like, okay, if yeah, it might sound like I'm talking to a child, but sometimes people forget that we're nothing but children in big old bodies. Like,
Yep.
we most of us haven't learned past our childhood state for real. Like, and that's where we're stuck. Many of us are just we still haven't learned to please that child in us to finally
Hmm.
hit that next echelon of growth where it's like,
Yeah.
well, now I'm a fully encompassed person. So like
Yeah.
we need to be able to talk to people in these different ways where yes, it does sound a little demeaning or childlike that I'm speaking to you, but this is where you're meeting me at and I'm meeting you there too. So let's figure this out here. And like all of it. I find it's a conversation that needs to happen more or
Hmm.
approached in that situation like more of
Hmm.
I love you. I want to fuck you up right now, but let's find a different solution because that's
Right.
so.
Well, right. I mean, it's that balance of like that love driving you to be upset. Because if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be this upset.
Mhm.
And at the same time, it is also restraining from what I want to if I didn't love you. Like it like there's an old um there's an old Puritan um wedding vow that my wife and I when we first got married, like we found it and it was so annoying. And
Well, the
if she ever
Puritans
watches
weren't
this,
were known for their quality overall.
right. But the wedding vow was it was in conflict so the statement was, and in conflict I will leave no space for attack or withdrawal. And that was like the promise that they made in this wedding vow was like in communication, I'm not going to run away and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to attack you, which means we're stuck in having to work through this together. And I think
It's that no
I
man's
think
land
that's
conversation where it's like
yeah.
it. I had a therapist in the past who taught me about this no man's land where it's like literally you got to drop all arms and come out and be like I have nothing and I can't like you said I can't attack you and I don't want to and I'm not gonna run and on your side I'm hoping you have no weapons and you're not gonna run and we have to
Mhm.
figure this out and in that conversation it really allowed me the chance to grow in this sense because I used to run a whole lot
Mhm.
in ways of like I would stump a conversation to the point that I can't be challenged. Where I now have a tendency to want to more understand my opposing side and how they got to their conclusion in depth before
Mhm.
I then say, all right, you're still wrong and shut this shit down.
Here's
I at least want to
thank you for
listen now.
thank you for telling me. I would like to inform you at this time that you're still wrong.
Call me Stephen A. Smith. I get on my high horse. Tanner calls me all the time. Shouts to Tanner, but
Oh.
also you guy. Not you, him. He knows who I'm talking about. He's gonna watch it. He because he says, "Yo, I get on my Stephen A. And it's all about the facts and nothing else." And I do get that way, where I'm trying to do better in understanding now the logic behind the emotion because I do still believe there's logic behind emotion. People think
Yeah.
it's emotions just careless and does what it does, but I'm like, there is a logic behind it, and I would at least want to understand that before I move any further.
Yeah.
But also, again, if you're wrong, recognize that and hush. Like
Yep.
I'd be like, ugh. But that goes for me as well. I'd be wrong too. Sometimes, guys. Sometimes, Brent,
Every once in a while.
you want to argue, but you're like, he'd be right sometimes, so too.
Right. But that's it though, is trying to like it's trying to grow in having those relationships and that grace where you can work those things out, where it's a safe space where
Yeah.
everyone can be like, I can be right or I can be wrong, but we need to have this dance a little bit.
Is that what you
And
consider a safe space?
I think
I
being
don't know
able
what a
to be in
safe
a
space is. It's
no,
To me, it's still a battlefield. As much as I drop my arms and I'm not looking to fight, it's still a battlefield.
yeah,
So for
true.
me, that's tough because
Yeah.
I don't know what a true safe space is. Even in therapy, I remember being like, I'm only gonna give so much and figure it out from there. So I'm like,
Fair enough. Yeah.
I know some people have that take. It's not one that I've held personally though.
I only think it can happen in like that safe space thing. I think it can only really happen in maybe 2 to 5 relationships. Like I don't
Dude,
think you
I
can
give
do
you
that
that.
with
Yeah,
like
no,
I
it's
like
general population,
like like
but
it's too
like
risky out there.
handful. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. I give you that.
Yeah.
I give you that 100%.
Yeah.
Like, because
I
there's
think it's a little
always
too
that. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I think it's a little too like Pollyanna to think like one day we'll all be able to have this safe space. Like that's hard and it takes a lot of like deep work with people. And I don't think we
People.
have
Mhm.
I don't think we have the time. But I think in those intimate relationships and friendships,
We have
like
the time.
you
We have the time. Fuck what Brandon said, guys. We have the time. We could do this right now. It's not as hard as you think. And I swear to you, I thought it was hard. It's not as hard as you think. Fuck what he just said. We have the time. We absolutely have the time. We need to make the time. Do we understand this, crowd? We have to make the time. It's not that we don't have it. We have plenty of time. We scroll on our phones half the day. We can make the
ooh,
time.
that's true.
Don't tell the people that. They're going to
I get
misconstrue.
well, I guess I mean that it's like you can have like people can have that if they want that. But I think sometimes people don't want that intimate of a like they don't want to do the work to get there with some relationships. And so
The
when I
work
say
doesn't. Okay. So, question for you: in the sense of intimate work, are you talking with person on person or self to self?
I guess kind of both. Like you can like I think
I think we can reach the people if we start self to self.
okay.
And the reason I say that is because people fucking hate people. This day and age, let's face it, people suck. Like they fucking suck. So why would anyone want to deal with another person? Let's okay. So let's talk about self. People hate themselves, but they hate themselves less than they hate others typically. So we gotta approach those people and understand that if we tackle you and get you on our side, then we could go fuck them up with some positive mental health stuff, and then we take over the world. Then we take over. It's like, but because eventually we just gotta corral the people that then don't even want to deal with self and be like, so sorry, introverts, but I'm coming after you. I was one of you. Now I'm an ambivert. I still like my personal time, but
Mhm.
I learned I had to deal with people. We all do for
Yep.
ourselves. So Now that I've got everybody else on my side, we're coming after you. Every single one of y'all.
Do you think like they know that though? I mean, after
Oh, yes. And they're
okay.
silently plotting in their homes, which we will invade with different types of parties and whatnot. They're gonna have no choice. Listen, it's one of those things.
What's gonna be at the party?
Don't you? I, uh, games, fun games, and alike. Maybe
Ah,
charades. We do charades.
yeah.
Everyone keeps their credit cards in their wallets. We don't need those out because my information is already on DoorDash, so don't even worry about it. So everybody keep their credit cards, and you know what? For that matter, keep your
Okay.
dollar bills in there too. I got the tip. Don't even worry about it at all. We're not gonna need
Ah,
anything. All right,
ah,
I took care of it. It's
ah.
already here.
Uh,
So I didn't. I'm not gonna say anything, but I just know it's gonna be a good time.
all right.
Don't look in my eyes; they're not red. It's gonna be a good time.
So so the plot is to like win them over, show them that they need people, and then
Slowly, slowly, because they're a tricky type.
you can
So you got to
yeah,
finesse
can't
the game. It's a tightrope.
mm,
Listen,
okay.
I've already got a couple people on my side. I've been able to open a couple doors that they thought would never be open, and I'm like, hey, but you're having a good time, right? And they're like, yeah, it's a good time. And I'm like, cool, stay where you are. We'll fix that later. I
Okay.
hear some little, little like hesitance. So we'll come back to that. But you're here now. Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
I gotta intermingle, get the rest of the crowd going, and yeah, I'll be back. I'll circle back.
I'll, I'll be right back. Don't you worry.
Stay in your corner. I'll save you later. Don't worry about it. And by save them, I mean, listen, I'm saving their lives. That's all that matters. We're
Fair enough.
doing paint and sips. We're doing hella paint and sips,
Oh,
karaoke's.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really elegant take. Like,
Oh, listen, you gotta meet them where they're at. And a lot of artists stay in their bedroom. But if I get them out with a little bit of drink and then they do the painting, everyone's cool. And then add a little music, a little DJ doing something in the background, just keeping it mellow,
hmm,
nothing crazy. Not trying to have people on the dance floor doing, maybe one couple, old couple gets up, does a little two-step, and everyone's like, man, that's what I want in 50 years. That right there.
that's
See, and that's how you coerce them. You slowly inaugurate
okay.
them into the ambivert because that gives them a choice. See, I don't want to call them an extrovert out of nowhere. That's going to scare them away.
True. True.
So, but
Yep.
ambivert, hey, you dab a little bit this way, that way. Hey,
Mhm. There you go. It works.
it also just sounds like I just tried to coach somebody into the alphabet community, and that's not exactly what I was going for.
Yeah. I mean,
It sounded like it is like,
it
yeah,
did.
hey, bro, don't come on now. It's a party.
Yep.
I got a party. It's a banger.
Yep. The way you said it too. It's a banger.
Man, upside down pineapples everywhere. It's crazy.
Mm-mm.
But you know about upside down pineapples, Brandon.
Don't
Oh,
even
why'd you look at
like
me like you
don't like
you looked at the Hey, you know what? Let me get off that subject. I don't want to put you in a hot soup. Yeah. All these different types of carrots and celery stalks and eggplants around. I don't want to put you in all.
nope. 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 Nope.
So I got some good advice this week. And we go call it after that.
All right.
All right, I got good advice coming your way. Because my life is changing and I'm trying to do better and whatnot. So I got some good advice. Sometimes, guys, you listen. Sometimes it's good to shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Your mind is like, shut the fuck up. Listen, listen for once. As most of us, we are reactionary in our listening, as opposed to truly being in the moment of just listening and listening to whatever it is. So take this quick lesson and shut the fuck up. That's it. That's my good advice. Opposing words, Brandon?
I was just shutting up to listen.
You see that? He took the advice.
Yep. Because it's good advice.
Good advice. On that note, everybody, peace and love. We'll catch you guys next time.